This is our light bronze 6-pound field piece. It is just one of 11 pieces of artillery that you could have found at Michilimackinac during the 1770s. And this, in an 18th century battlefield, is a very powerful and very deadly weapon. There's a couple things that make it such a good weapon. Number one is that it's highly mobile. It's made out of bronze, which is a lot lighter weight than a heavier iron cannon would be, allowing you to put it on a field piece. That's the carriage that it's sitting on. That will let you move the cannon anywhere you need to on a battlefield. There is a quote in the year 1777 that said, "Anywhere a goat can go, a man can go. Anywhere a man can go, he can drag a gun." And in the 18th century, when they say gun, they don't mean a musket. They mean one of these. You can get this thing up a sheer cliff if you have to. So it's highly mobile. It also has a good range to it. It can take a 6-pound cannonball and launch it up to 1 mile. If you look back behind me on the Mackinac Bridge, where the cables come down from the tower, they end in that big cement block. That block is about 1 mile from us. Or if you've been downtown, the Starline Ferry Dock is also about 1 mile from this location. So you can imagine a nice big circle around the fort at that mile distance. That's the area of control. If an enemy army wanted to attack this place, once they got within that mile range, the artillery could begin to open fire. Now at that distance, it's basically just warning shots. You're probably not going to hit what you're aiming at 1 mile. For a more accurate range, 1/2 mile, and now being able to hit something the size of that blockhouse up there. If they still don't get hit, and they keep coming closer, at 400 yards, you can load down case shot. It's a big tin can, packed full of musket balls, turning this cannon into one massive shotgun. But it cleared out anything and anyone in front of it for 300 to 400 yards. So again, a very powerful, very deadly weapon. Here at Michilimackinac, though, the artillery was never used as a weapon because there was no one to shoot at. Even during the height of the American Revolution, no one ever comes up here and besieges Michilimackinac. The cannons are never fired in anger at anyone, but they were still being fired. And they're firing them off for 2 main reasons. Reason number one was for practice. Now we know they didn't get attacked during the Revolution. They didn't know that back then. They didn't be ready to use these weapons. And this one, by itself, should be manned by over 12 members of the Royal Regiment of Artillery. Those have been British soldiers dressed like myself and Chris in the blue regimental for the Royal Artillery rather than the red infantry coat. The artillerymen knew geometry, trigonometry, physics, all the fun math and science that goes into properly hitting your target with one of these smoothbore guns at 1/2 mile distance. And if this cannon by itself needed over 12, and there are 10 other pieces of artillery here, we should have had well over 100 members of the Royal Artillery also stationed here. Historically, they had at maximum the same number you are currently looking at, 2. Sometimes they were unlucky and only had 1 artillery soldier out here. Neither of those numbers anywhere close to what you need for even 1 cannon. So the few that were here, retraining members of the 8th Regiment of Foot, like my redcoats up here, in how to load up and fire the cannon, and just having the artillerymen supervise the process. The second reason they're firing them off is what we're about to do for all of you, known as a salute. Run down the black powder, no cannonball, and fire it off in celebration. They've welcomed the native leaders here for negotiations. New supply canoes are greeted by blasting guns. They even use these cannons to celebrate important holidays here at Michilimackinac. So imagine if you have someone who has a birthday in their life right now, we're going to fire it for that. So to begin our salute charge, what we'll do is prepare for action, get the cannon ready to go. Everything we need to fire is strapped to that gun. We just got to get everything off before we can fire. Boxes that you took off are very important that you take off. Those are ammunition lockers. They're full of explosives. You don't want that next to the barrel as it's firing. One stray spark gets in there, and now you've got 2 exploding bombs, or a bad day for your cannon too. We also have some tools that will be used for cleaning and loading, and then there were some covers on that barrel, just to make sure nothing gets shoved down there while we're not out. Whenever the cannons are going to get our crew in position, man out face, they'll take their spots on the gun, and as I said before, a full crew is over 12 people. They have provisions on how to do as few as 3 people. It'll just take a lot more work on their part. Take care. Just the attention command. Stand up straight. 4 orders are on the way. 10, Vince, Chris will take his thumb and cover the touch hole at the back of the gun. That's going to make it a lot safer for those working at that dangerous muzzle end. Search piece! Veronica will now run down the worm, that big corkscrew, pull up any solid debris. The charge from last time, a bird's nest, a wad of gum, we want nothing down there. Advance sponge! We also want nothing hot down there. In battle with a full, well-trained crew, you can fire an aim shot out of here every 15 to 20 seconds. That's quick, but dangerous. If there's something still hot down there, you run down new black powder, it's gonna go off, sending the ramrod along with Logan's fingers flying into Lake Michigan. So make sure that doesn't happen. Sponge piece! We're running this big Q-tip looking tool down. It's been dipped in some water. That'll cool off the inside of the barrel. It's also a nice tight fit. As it goes down, it pushes all the air out. Pull it back out, no more air can get in. Creates a nice vacuum. Inside that vacuum, nothing should be burning. It is now time to handle cartridge. Andrew will come back to our ammunition locker and pull out one of our charges. Now, historically, a charge would be about 1.5 pounds of black powder in a flannel bag tied directly to the cannonball. We're going to be using about 12 ounces of black powder, and once you see it, you'll notice it's not very historically accurate. It's in tin foil, but nice and safe tin foil. We'll bring that up to the front of the gun, hand off to Veronica, who I will now command to load. She'll place that charge into the barrel. Once it's there, I can tell Logan to run down cartridge. He'll push that charge all the way to the back of the gun, give it a few hits, and put it right under where Chris is covering up his thumb. That way we'll be able to use that touch hole to create a fuse. Prime! Take a long brass needle, just the one I have here, run that down the touch hole, now poke open a hole in our charge. Once the charge has been opened up, Chris has got a tin on his waist full of priming fuses. These would have been tin tubes, packed full of black powder. All you need to do is touch the top of a burning match, it'll ignite, send a jet of flame down, and get everything else to go kaboom. At this point though, the cannon is primed and loaded. You actually had a cannonball in there though. Next step would be to take aim. This large wooden spike can be lifted up to the left or right, and under where Chris is a large screw that he's currently moving. That's going to change the elevation or angle of the barrel. We are now just about ready to fire. I do want to warn you all, this is a cannon. It can be quite loud. I'm going to cheat and use phone earpieces. I'd recommend you all protect your hearing as well. Once I get these earplugs in, we'll only have 2 more commands to fire. And our last 2 commands are... Make ready! Fire! God save the king!
Wow.
So there is an artillery salute to welcome you all to Michelin Mackinac today. I do hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. If anyone has any questions, feel free to come up and talk to us. Our next program begins at 4 o'clock at the center of the fort. There'll be a tour about architecture here in Michelin Mackinac. Then at 4:30, you can grab a cup of tea in building number 7. Until then, have a great day, everyone. Thanks for stopping in.